Hi friends, I am Darshni Priya. Today I am going to explain you the poem The Road Not Taken by Robert Frost. This poem is relevant to our life. The poet says that he was faced with the options of two paths in the woods. This is similar to the career opinions we have in life and choose one out of them. Let's look into the poem. Two roads diverged in a yellow wood, and sorry I could not travel both. And be one traveller long I stood, and looked down one as far as I could, to where it bent in the undergrowth. Here the poet was walking down a road, and then there was a diversion. There were two different paths, and he has to choose one out of them. The poet says that as he was one person, he could travel on one road only. He had to choose one out of these two roads. Yellow wood means a forest with leaves which are wearing out and they have turned in yellow color. Means it was season of autumn. It represents a world which has full of people where people have been living for many years. They represent people who are older than the poet. The poet kept standing there and looked at the path very carefully as far as he could see it. Before taking the path, he wanted to know how it was. Was it suitable for him or no? He was able to see the path till from where it curved, after which it was covered with trees and was hidden. It happens in our life also. When we have choices, we have alternatives, but we have to choose only one out of them. We take time to think about the pros and the cons, whether it is suitable for us or not, and only then we take a decision on what path we should choose. Then took the other as just as fair, and having perhaps the better claim, because it was grassy and wanted wear. Though as for that, the passing there had warned them really about the same. Now the poet kept on looking at one path for a long time to check if it is the right path for him or not, and then he decided and started walking on another path because he felt that the both paths were equally good. He says just as fair. So he felt that both paths were equally good and started walking on one of them. He adds that maybe he felt that the path was better for him, so he chooses it as it has grass on it, which means that it was unused. Not many people had walked on this path earlier, that is why this path was grassy. And wanted where means that it was not walked over by many people. After he walked on the path for some distance, he realized that both the paths had been worn out the same way. Both the paths were similar and worn out. Even in our life, we take any path or option, but all of them have the same benefits, disadvantages, problems, challenges, and we must face them. We think that we are choosing a better option, but it is not that way. And both that morning equally lay in leaves no step had trodden black. Oh, I marked the first for another day, at knowing how way leads on to way. I doubted if I should ever come back. Here, the poet says that the paths were similar that morning. Both had leaves on them, and no one had stepped on them as they were still green in color. He decided that that day he would take the path and keep the other path another day, although he knew that one way leads to the another way. He knew that he could not go back on the choice that he had made. Similarly, even in our life, once we choose an option, we must keep on moving ahead with that option, and we never get a chance to come back and take the other option that we had left earlier. I shall be telling this with a sigh, somewhere ages and ages hence. Two roads diverged in a wood, and I took the one less traveled by, and that has made all the difference. He says that in the future he will take a deep breath and say that once upon a time he had reached such a point in life that there were two options for him, and he traveled on the road which had been traveled upon by lesser number of people. That decision has decided his future. Similarly, in future when you grew up, then you will say that once upon a time when you were young, you had two options. The choice that you have made you what you became of it. This is a very strong message for all the students that you should be wise and be careful while making choices out of the options that you have in your life, because your future depends on the choice that you make today. So, friends, the poem revolves around a general problem that one faces in life. It is of making a choice in life. Life gives us many opportunities, and one has to take a decision and stick to it. One can't get everything in life. The decision taken can sometimes be wrong also, but the choice has to be made. The choice affects our life, but the step once taken cannot be retraced. Let's listen the singing of this poem.
Two roads diverged in a yellow wood. Sorry I could not travel both. And me one traveler long I stood, and looked down one as far as I could, to where it bent in the undergrowth. And took the other as just as fair, and having perhaps the better claim, because it was grassy and wanted wear, though as for that the passing there had warned them really about the same. And both that morning equally lay, and leaves no step had trodden black. Oh, I kept the first for another day, yet knowing how way leads on to way, I doubted if I should ever come back. I shall be telling this with a sigh. Somewhere ages and ages hence, two roads diverged in a wood, and I took the one less traveled by, and that has made all the difference.